Hi everyone, if you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm the creator of this channel. And if you've seen me before, then welcome back. I appreciate all of your support. If you like what you see here today, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and even hit the like button just to help the YouTube algorithm so that way you can get more from me. All right, so today I am very excited because I have a French Provincial dresser that I have been dying to put up on Facebook, on YouTube, excuse me, to show you guys. And I have actually adapted a technique from Bella Renovare. I'm going to give her a huge shout out because I absolutely love crys'dawna. I watch her YouTube videos and she's a huge influence on what I did with this piece. So thank you very much, crys'dawna. And if you guys have any questions or want to give me advice, I am always open for constructive criticism or whatever you want to throw my way. So leave anything you would like to say in the comments or email me. My email is down below in the description as well. Everything that I've used in today's video is going to be posted down below in the description box. So if you want to use what I had used or anything like that, feel free. And I hope you enjoy this video. All right, so here we have the dresser disassembled. It's easier for me to clean it this way. And I also wanted to give you a quick overview of what the dresser actually looks like and showing that it's an actual authentic French Provincial just by the craftsmanship that was put into it. And also to show you a couple of things. The top's coming off a little bit, so I'm gonna have to fix that later on. All right, so here I am cleaning with Dawn dish detergent and hot water and paper towels. Now, I'm still new at this, so I'm just figuring things out as I go. And I'm gonna recommend don't use paper towels. They leave all sorts of filaments and leftovers or whatever you wanna call it. And it just becomes a hassle to clean again afterwards. And you wanna make these processes as seamless as possible so that way you can get a quality finish in the lowest amount of time. Now I go all out and clean every single inch of furniture. Some people don't, but if you're gonna be professional about it, you probably should just take the extra step just to clean the whole piece, because you don't know where it's been, you don't know who's handled it, what's been inside of it, you know, all that stuff that you don't really want to think about. And after I'm done wiping down the piece with Dawn dish soap, I will go back after and clean it with warm water, just to get all the residue of the cleaner off, because when you go to paint it or even sand it, it's going to be difficult because it'll just be sanding in more of the chemical instead of just sanding down the cleaned surface. So you also want to think about that as well. All right, so here, part of the, the molding, sorry, is coming off of the dresser. So I'm just putting some wood glue in there and then clamping it to the dresser. I wasn't sure if that was going to work because my other thought was screwing it in, but luckily for me, this worked out really, really well. And all wood glue is basically the same, so whatever brand you get, it's more than likely going to work. So here I have to put a ton of wood filler on this corner because there was a chunk missing out of the molding going around the bottom. This part took me 2 days to get right because when I do a piece like this and I'm using this much wood filler, I want to let it sit for at least 24 hours to make sure that it's completely dry. Because if it's not dry, then you'll have pieces of it fall off and you don't want to have to try to refix it a million times. I was recently told, and I'm probably going to try this in a different video, about using Bondo for stuff like this. And I never thought about that because I didn't realize Bondo made things other than just the car filler. So now I'm trying to sand it down so that way it matches the molding, so that way it looks like it's uniform to it. I didn't film this part, but after this I had to go back in and patch a lot of it again because it came out. Now here I am drilling pilot holes in the top of the dresser. Now before anybody kills me, what you all need to know is that most of these French Provincial dressers that you see with this kind of paint on it, it's not paint, it's, what do you want to call it? It's, veneer. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So it's not going to affect the actual finish of these dressers. I did not go through sanding down all the veneer because I'm painting it. If I was staining it, I would have probably grabbed a piece that actually was actual solid wood. So I'm screwing the top down because I could not get in there with wood glue. It wouldn't lift up enough for me to put enough wood glue in there for me to just clamp it down. And I also wanted it to be secure for whoever buys it. So I made a little boo-boo here. I'm trying to countersink my screws, which for those of you who don't know what countersinking is, it's when the screw is underneath the top level or top layer of a piece of furniture or whatever you're screwing into. So what you got to do is you got to make the top as wide as the end of the screw that has the little notch in it. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure this lingo out still, so I apologize very much. But needless to say, when you screw it in, it'll sit underneath the top of it, so then you can fill it with wood filler, which is what I'm going to be doing next. Again, I apologize for the lingo. I'm still trying to learn things. Alright, so this wood filler, it's the same wood filler that I used for the molding around the bottom. It comes pink in the thing and in the container, and I was a little worried when I first started using this. And I'm like, oh, it really does dry tan. So once it's completely dry, it'll turn a wood color, and that it helped me out quite a bit. So now what I'm doing is I'm sanding down the wood filler on the top, and luckily I did not have to refill anything. And I'm also going to scuff sand the whole entire surface of this piece. Now in this video, I believe I'm using like an 80 or 100 grit. To scuff sand, I just recently learned you don't need to use that heavy of a grit of sandpaper. You can use like a 120 or a 180 or even a 220. Now I'm also filling in the old handle holes because I have different knobs that I'm going to be putting on. It's just a knob, not an actual handle. And another tip with this that I also just found out recently by watching some other videos, put tape behind these when you're doing them, when you're filling in the holes for the handles. It'll keep the wood putty from going all the way through, and then you have to sand both sides down. It'll go through and then stop at the tape. And then you shouldn't have to worry about sanding the inside of the drawer. See guys, I'm still learning things too. I'm still brand new at this. I've only been doing it for a few months. I've also been only filming YouTube videos for a few months, so please just pardon all of the crazy, wishy-washy, unsure talk, because that is me learning, and you guys will also go through the same thing if you're just starting out. So now I'm sanding down the tops of these drawers, now that the wood putty is dry. I did miss a couple of spots, excuse me, so I'm gonna have to go back in and fill them again, and then wait a little bit longer and then sand them down. Now these, since they're so small for the area for the wood, I keep calling it wood putty, they don't need to take 24 hours to dry. You can probably go back after 3 to 4 hours just to make sure it's really, really dry. Another thing too, before you start painting your piece of furniture, you want to make sure that you get all of the sanding dust off of your piece. So I would recommend a microfiber cloth. All right, so now here is another tidbit of information. I am using a paint primer mixture that I bought from Walmart on a budget, trying to start with as little as possible spent. It was like $13 for a whole gallon of it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use this for now and see how it goes. So as paint, it works fantastic, but as a primer, because it's got the paint in it, it doesn't work as well as I would have liked it to. Yeah, so I would say if you're gonna invest in something like a primer, get an actual primer and then separate paint. And if the paint still has a primer in it, at least you used just a solid primer base. For these, if you're not using chalk paint, you want to use a primer for the paint, because otherwise it will not adhere to the surface, even if you sand it down. Another tidbit of information here, I am going to be sanding in between each layer of paint or primer that I put down, just to keep it a smooth consistency the whole entire way through. Because if you wait until the very end, pardon me, yeah. If you wait until the very end to sand your whole piece down after you're done painting it, it's going to end up having ridges in it and it's gonna not sand evenly. So if you do it every layer after it dries, then it'll be a nice smooth finish. And I would say for that, just do a I'm gonna say probably like a 220 grit would be okay for that also. And the paint that I'm using, I actually mixed my own paint. If you would like the video on how I did that, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to do that for you guys. It's super simple. Alright, so I had to end up doing a second coat. This paint is very, very pale and you could still see streaks of white underneath it. So with the lighter colors, you might be doing closer to 3 to 4 coats. Luckily with this one, I only had to do 2 and it covered it up really nicely. But for the technique that I'm using to finish this design off, I didn't have to completely cover it per se, because I'm going to have other layers of paint on top of this that you won't really see the primer underneath. And the types of brushes that I like to use, I usually get either the cheap ones from Lowe's. They have really nice synthetic hairs on them. And I also get a value pack that I usually get from Walmart. They're really not that bad, but my favorite ones are the angled brushes, and probably anything 1.5 inches or smaller. I don't like using the humongous brushes because sometimes it adds way too much paint. Yes, it'll get it done quicker, but I also like using smaller brushes because then I can take my time and do smaller sections, make sure they're done right the first time. And you guys don't have to use those brushes. If you want to use the bigger ones, go for it. I'm just telling you what my preference is, just in case you also agree with it. And also the jar that I have the paint in, I actually got that at the Dollar Tree, guys. It's so cute. I bought a few of them just in case I did mix any other colors. But yeah, I get a lot of my stuff at the Dollar Tree because I'm just starting out right now. I can't afford the expensive, really, really nice brushes. All right, so here's the start of this technique. It's a blending technique with like shadowing and light areas. This is what I learned from Bella Renovare. She uses chalk paint. I don't have chalk paint in these colors right now, so I'm using the acrylic based paint. Excuse me. So what I'm doing first is I'm painting the outside edges with a really, really dark blue. And then I'm going in now with a middle toned blue. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you always keep the surface wet and your brush wet, because when you blend the paint together, you want it to be wet while you're doing it. You don't want it drying because then it won't work the right way. And then I'm going back over the middle section with a lighter colored blue for the light effect. It's going to look really pretty when it's done. I'm so sorry. I'm horrible at explaining this. So if you want to try this technique, you're going to need 4 brushes. You're going to need 3 for each color, one for each of the colors. And then you're going to need a dry neutral brush to do the blending with. And also you're going to need a mister bottle. I don't have a mister bottle in this video. I only have the regular spray bottle, and it started causing a lot of weird drips in it and everything, so I had to be really, really careful with what I did. I mean, it worked out fairly well for what I had to deal with at the time. So, you know, I mean, it's practice at this point. That's the finished drawer fronts right there. And now I'm going to be measuring out my knob holes. Now these are the drawers that have the 2 separate, it looks like 2 separate drawers for the top 2 drawers. So I'm measuring out the middle from the long way, and then I have to go and do the same thing across the short part of it to make sure that it's exactly in the middle. And I had to do this for all of the drawers. The other 3 drawers, I had 3-inch centered holes. So I had to do that one a little differently. I don't really know how to explain how I did it. I don't remember at this moment how I did it. It was very carefully. And I used a Sharpie to mark where the points were going to be that I was going to screw. Excuse me, or for where I was going to drill my holes. And I should have used a pencil. On this first drawer, I accidentally marked 3 separate spots right here. And, you know, it was okay because luckily the knob covered it. And the part that it didn't cover, I painted back over with the lighter colored blue. Alright, so now here's the base of the dresser. I am just painting it right now with the white primer paint mixture. You know, trying to get the same effect that I got on the drawers. Now, I kind of do it a little bit backwards. I don't do the base first. I always do the drawers first. And here's why. For me, the drawers are more time consuming than the base. So I like to get those done and out of the way fairly quickly. Now, if you do come across a French Provincial dresser like this, some of them are even curved out in the front, which would make sanding a little more difficult because you're not sanding a flat surface. You gotta go with the curve because you don't want to lose the integrity of the piece. Now, I also have this flipped upside down because I wanted to get the feet done first. For me, it's hard to bend over right now. I have some health issues going on, so I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for me to get this piece done. And you can do the same thing too. Some people have access to things that can lift the furniture off the ground so you can paint it. Other people are probably going to do what I'm doing just to make it easier. And then once you're finished painting the bottom of it, you can flip it back over and do the rest of it, which is what I did. I tried to prime as much as I could before I painted it and flipped it back over. You know, it depends on your situation and what room you have. I'm also now currently in my kitchen. My workshop is not big enough for me to do stuff yet. I have to reorganize it. So now I'm doing the shading effects because I already painted it. I didn't videotape the part of me painting the whole thing blue. So now I'm doing the shading effect on the bottom of the dresser. Now the bottom is a little trickier, but I would say just go with what you think looks good. And if you want help, I left a link down in the description of the video that inspired me from crys'dawna, and she is an excellent teacher. I apologize. I am still trying to figure this out as I go. But she can definitely explain it in more detail and in better detail than I can right now. And I would definitely say if you want to try this technique, invest in a mister. Don't use an actual spray bottle because you don't want to overdo it with the water, but you also don't want to underdo it with the water. And you want it to be more of a fine mist than you do a straight stream of water. Now with this, I also want to mention on the body, I'm not going exactly with the shading that normally would be. I'm just experimenting at this point because I want to get a feel for what this looks like when it's all done. And the best thing about this technique is if you screw up or you do too much light compared to dark or vice versa, you can fix it fairly easily. which is very, very awesome. It's a forgiving technique for sure. Like, now I'm showing you the full body of the dresser. There are so many streak marks. I had to go back and actually repaint the body, well, not the whole body, but the sides of it definitely at least twice, because I didn't like how it came out. So if you were doing this with chalk paint, you can reactivate the chalk paint with water, which is pretty cool. The acrylic paint, you would have to actually start a whole new layer of paint, which is a pain in the butt, but at the same time, if that's what you have to work with, then so be it. Okay, now this is where I had fun. I had a lot of fun with this. I painted the top of it a light tan color because I wanted to use a specific product. And that product is the Valspar Antiquing Glaze. Now, what you gotta do is you dip your paintbrush in and load it up even a little bit more than I did here, and paint a small area of where you're going to do this. It's supposed to make it look aged a little bit. Yet again, I was just trying to figure out what I liked and, you know, what I didn't like. So I like the fact that this wipes off fairly easily, and please use a rag with this, a lint-free rag, to wipe it away, and you'll get a really cool streaky effect on the top, and it makes it look a little aged. I also think it looks like a little bit of faux wood, which is kind of cool, which is kind of what I think I was going for with this. Because I'm experimenting with two-toned furniture, and I really like the two-toned furniture with the lighter top and the darker bottom. You don't have to go as crazy as I am with the wiping, but I wanted to get most of the streaks out. And now here's the final product. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. The outcome was absolutely amazing. The customer that bought it from me, she was so thrilled. It was for her daughter's bedroom, and I am so happy that I could do that for her. And she might even be a return customer because I have another similar one that I'm going to be doing down the road. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm still kind of playing around with ideas. If you guys have any ideas, please let me know because I would love to hear from you. So yeah, I've got a lot more coming. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I have new days now that I'm going to be posting. I am posting on Sundays. So this will be good. I'm going to start with once a week just to get in the swing of things, and hopefully if things pick up, I will be posting twice a week, which will be great. If you want to see anything from me, other videos, products, you name it, just let me know, and I will try to do my best to bring that content to you. I also have some business tips and things. I might start doing that on a separate day also. For those of you who are just starting out from scratch, it can be a little intimidating, but I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. I'm here to support you 100%. So if you want to start that journey with me as I go from beginning to wherever I go with this, please let me know. I would love to do that for you if you're interested. All right, guys. So I will see you next video next Sunday, and I hope you all have a good week. Stay safe. Bye.